All right. Morning and good evening, everyone. So my name is Hari. So I'm going to be your instructor for your sessions. So let me introduce myself. So I have a total 22 plus years of experience in the field of human capital management and business side, as well as on the IT side. So I had worked for 6.5 years in the uh, domain HR side. So played various roles of unit HR and corporate HR and HR strategist roles. And then thereafter, I started my career as a HCM consultant. So let me mute everyone so that others will not feel that distraction. All right. So we will have the introduction session maybe in our next session for each one of you guys. All right. So thereafter, I started my career as a functional consultant for HCM applications into Oracle EBS applications. So started with my my career with 11.5.5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then thereafter, for the last 5 years, I have been on the cloud technology, cloud HCM technology. So I played various roles of functional consultant, project lead, project managers, team managers, and all that. So I've been working for the last almost 17 years in Oracle HCM field. So having said that, okay, I have a rich experience in implementation of various modules, starting from kickoff stage to until go live. And I have implemented various modules for various customers across the globe. So traveled multiple countries in APAC division, Europe, EMEA division, and even the Americas too. All right, so I have got very good knowledge on HCM applications, and to add to my experience levels as an instructor, so I have been delivering various training programs in India and even abroad for various clients like Reserve Bank of South Africa and National Bank of Abu Dhabi National Bank, Development Bank. So like this, I have developed, delivered various training programs as a Oracle University instructor. So I'm a freelance Oracle University instructor too. So I've been associated with Krishna since long. I've been delivering these training programs. Okay, so that's all about my introduction. So let's move to the cloud application overview. Okay, so this is Fusion HCM online training. So whatever the agenda that we are going to cover here, whatever the syllabus or different contents that we're going to cover here. So we will talk about the course introduction. That's what we're going to do now. And HCM cloud product overview. So what is a cloud application? So what is cloud? And within cloud, what is HCM product is all about? And Fusion applications overview and all that. And Fusion HCM overview. So what are all the different modules that we have in HCM and all that? And what are the different integration points that HCM has got with other modules in cloud? And we're also going to talk about a functional setup manager, which will help us to complete the configurations, which we call it as FSM, functional setup manager. We will talk about that. And the most important one is to start with the security console. So the security console means creation of users and creation of roles, granting the access to the roles to a particular users, and creating different roles like a job role, data role, and securing those roles by areas of responsibilities and all that. So we will talk about the security console. And so the modules which we are going to cover is a global HR, absence management, global payroll, profile management, succession management, a talent pool, talent review, and then we have goals management, performance management, employee self-service, and manager self-service. So these are all the different modules that we're going to cover. And technically, so we're going to cover some of the topics. We will try to make you, expertise as much as possible in these areas. So one is the fast formulas and approvals management, spreadsheet loaders, specializer loaders, and HCM data loaders, reports, and then we have data extracts. So these are all the total technical areas other than the SOA and web services and all that. So we are not going to get into that. So when you talk about the cloud technical, so these are all the different topics, so which we're going to cover as our syllabus in this session. All right, so there is a background noise. Let me try to. All right. Okay, so coming to the cloud models. So Oracle, in fact, they were into the EBS applications. So where the client used it to set up their in-house servers and then have their database administrators to install the applications, various Oracle applications. It can be like operating systems, and then on top of the operating system, then Oracle application, Oracle EBS application, or the PLSQL servers and all that, SQL servers and all that. So that's an in-house thing where the client used to spend a lot of amount in purchasing the servers, and setting up of the network and all that. So every client used to spend a lot of amount. So now Oracle felt that, okay, so why the clients needs to spend so much amount? So why can't save the money if we set up the servers in our Oracle's office and give the access. So just like how the Gmail works. So Gmail, we are all the Gmail users, and we never have any server set up at our home or office or anything. So what the Google does it for us. So similar to that, why can't Oracle do that? So that's how they realized the requirement, and they made that particular requirement as a reality. So based on the cloud, that is what they call it as a cloud. That means the servers are going to be in cloud. That doesn't mean it's in cloud. It means that, okay, the servers are going to be away from the actual users. So that is what the cloud models are. So Oracle has given 3 different models in in the cloud applications itself. So we have AS model, PaaS model, and SaaS model. So depending on the requirement, each client is going to select what exactly they want. So AS model is the first one. This is infrastructure as a service cloud. That means the client actually need the infrastructure as a service. That means they're not going to have any server in their in-house. So they're going to have these servers set up at Oracle's location, and then they are going to if you guys have any questions, you can unmute and ask me any questions. So, all right. So the clients are going to access the server, and whatever different applications or platforms that they would like to install, they can install on their own. But they will access this server, which is a setup in Oracle's office. So now, if you see the first model, AS model, infrastructure as a service model. So there are different roles that needs to be played by the consumer. The consumer is nothing but the client, and the service provider. Here, service provider is Oracle. So service provider's role is very minimal. So they just set up the server, that's it. And then after setting up of this server by Oracle and giving the access to customer, So the customer needs to install the platform. The platforms, like it can be a Windows platform on the server, or it can be Linux or HP, whatever it is. So various operating systems they can install the consumer, and then on top of the operating system, they can have their own installation of the application. So whether it can be used for any application, not only for Oracle applications. The client can use any application by using the server. And then on top of that, if there are any customizations, configurations that needs to be done, so everything has to be taken care by the client, the consumer. So here the role of Oracle or the service provider is very minimal in infrastructure as a service model. Now coming to the second model, which is a PaaS model, we call it as a platform as a service model. So that is a PaaS model. So in this case, Oracle will have a little bit more role and responsibility to play here, the service provider, which is Oracle. So they're going to have the servers installed, the server management is set up, and then they will also have the platform or the operating system that is installed. So on top of that, the consumer, the red part, whatever I'm showing here, is the role and responsibility of the consumer, of the client. So they will install the application, and on top of the application, so they will have their configurations and customizations if there are any done. So that is the role of the consumer. So this is the platform as a service model. So that means basically Oracle is providing a platform. They set up the server, they will have the readily available operating system installed on the server, and just the client needs to install whatever the application that they would like to. So it can be the cloud application itself, the cloud Fusion applications itself, they can start installing by downloading from the Oracle website. And the third model, which is a SaaS model, this is a software as a service cloud. So here the client role is very minimal, which we call it as a customizations. That means it is including the configurations. When I say customization, it doesn't mean the product customization. It is including the configurations or any custom reports or custom approval flows and all that, personalizations and all that. It includes that. So here Oracle provides everything up. They set up the servers, they install the operating system, whatever it is, and they also install the application. So here in this case, it is going to be a Fusion applications, the cloud applications, Oracle cloud applications. So that is what they're going to do, and they're going to make the product readily available. So they're going to make the product readily available to the clients, various customers. So the customers can directly access the application by using the logins. The client is going to directly access the application with the user logins that is provided, and then they can engage one of the consulting company for implementation. If they have their own team, that's fine. If they don't have, they can engage some outside consulting companies and then start the implementation. So that is what the SaaS model is all about. So now, since Oracle has given various cloud models here, so now the question is which model the client should go for, and how it is going to be beneficial to the clients. So in case of infrastructure as a service model, so that depends on the client requirements and what are all the different other applications that the client wants to install on the same server. So if that is the case, if they have other requirements also where they can install other applications also on the same server, it depends on how complex the client requirement is. They can go for infrastructure as a service model, and similarly the platform as a service model. So in case of infrastructure as a service model, so the client has the choice of selecting the operating system. And in case of platform as a service, the client doesn't have a choice of selecting the operating system because Oracle does it for them. And in case of software as a service model, so the client doesn't have any choice of any servers or So the entire thing is available. You just pay it and use it. So that's a kind of SaaS as a model, software as a service model. So what are the different advantages when the client move to SaaS model when compared to the other models or in-house models? So coming to the software as a service model, which is a latest technology in the market now, everybody is moving to the SaaS model because of the cost efficiency. When you compare the SaaS model and the current EBS application model, where the client is already having in-house servers and all that, so the client has to go for purchase of servers. So first they will have to work on the configuration of the server. So how big the server is required, what is the RAM required, what is the processor speed is required, and all that. So they will have to do a big exercise before proceeding to buy a server, because they have to keep in mind what all the different future application requirements are also going to be used by the same server and all that. And then they have to place the purchase order and get the servers and engage some other companies to install those servers. And once that is ready, so you will have to have your database administrator team or sysadmin team to be readily available to start downloading the Oracle applications from Oracle website and start installing. And then you will have to engage your implementation consultant team. So that's about until the implementation. So you need a lot of time doing these kind of exercises, and then you have to install a lot of capital, spend a lot of capital expenditure amount towards the servers and all that as assets. So the company has to set up, company has to spend a lot of amount on the servers. And then once it is gone live, once the implementation is done and the product is live, there may be some some maintenance activities that is required once in a while. So the DBS, you need DBA resources to keep monitoring the system, various processes running or not, to check those things. And if something is wrong, so they will have to bring down the instance and inform the users that, okay, from this time to this time, the instance is not going to be available. And they will have to keep monitoring and all that. And then you may already also have a regular patches that will be applied. So you will have to have planned outages too. So there is a lot of risk that is involved and a lot of cost is involved. And also additionally, so for each and every production instance, the customer should have a disaster recovery kind of system. That means you are going to have a mirror replica of the production server set up somewhere where you won't have a natural disastrous thing that could happen in that particular location. So you have to place your servers there and have the data sync with the production server, so that if something happened to the production server, immediately you can bring up the disaster recovery server, and the customers will never feel that, okay, there is a change in the URL or there is a change in the server or anything. So the customer will never, the actual business users will never know that. So again, you have to set up a disaster recovery server. That means the client is going to spend a lot of amount. So whereas coming to the SaaS, software as a service model, if you go for this particular kind of model, you don't need to buy servers. Oracle does it for you, and you don't need to have more number of resources for the database administrators, because you will not have access to any database management activities like monitoring the services or whatever it is. So Oracle will have the database administrators set up for you. If there is any issue that you feel, you immediately can raise a service request, and Oracle will take care of that. So you need only one administrator who can take care of the identity management services or user management services, to take care of the security console area. Not even the security console, just the user management and identity management services. We have something called IDCS. We'll talk about that when we move to the further sessions. So identity management services, which is overall administrator. So you just need one resource from the database administrator side. So you don't need more DBAs. So Oracle will have DBAs to help you. So a lot of cost savings in that particular area. So this is just like ready to use a product. So you can just access it and lease it, and you pay a minimal amount to Oracle when compared to the EBS applications licensing amount. So the SaaS application license will also be almost the same. But whereas the client is going to save a lot of money in terms of servers and putting additional resources as a database administrator. So that's how this is very much beneficial to the customers. Now let's move to the other slide. Okay, so coming to the various modules that we have in cloud application. So similar to the EBS applications, so we do have financial management, human capital management, the HCM, and supply chain management SCM, and projects management, and procurement, and all that, customer relationship management, and all that we have. So in addition to all of these modules, so we also have for each and every module, so we also have the OTBI. There is a tool called OTBI, and there is a tool called Beppel for configuring the approval management and all that. The OTBI to develop certain reports and dashboards, building any KPIs and dashboards we do have. And there are other tools also, like the Spreadsheet Loaders we have, special loaders we do have. So these kind of additional tools that we have, and those will come along with the actual product that you're buying. So you don't need to spend additional amount for these tools. Okay, so coming to the Fusion capital management, human capital management, HCM, the one that we are going to discuss about it. I haven't put all different modules here as a different modules here because of the space constraint here. So the HCM modules are divided into various categories. So what Oracle does is they will say based on the different offerings or the different licensing, what they do is they have divided into different offerings. Those are for the HCM human capital management, we do have 3 different offerings. One is the workforce deployment, and another one is the workforce development, and the third one is the compensation management. So they broadly categorized or offered categorized into 3 different offerings. So each offering will have different modules that are available. So for example, if you go to the workforce deployment, so we do have the core HR, self-service HR, employee self-service, and manager self-service, and we do have the payroll, we do have the absence management, we do have the learning management, recruitment management, and all those modules are bundled together as one offering, which is workforce deployment. And coming to the workforce development, so by name itself, it says it is development. It is for the development of the workforce. Here, workforce means the employees, whether it is a contract employee or a full-time employee, whoever it is. Workforce means the employees. So this is for the employee development. So we do have the talent management, goals and performance management, and succession planning, career development, talent pools. So all those are bundled together into one particular offering as a workforce development. And the third one is the compensation management. So where we have the benefits, advanced benefits kind of module, and the compensation module. The compensation is similar to our compensation workbench module in EBS application, and we do have a total comp statement and all that. So that's how the overall different modules are bundled together into various offerings. So we all know that the global HR module is used for defining various workforce structures, like creating a location, business units, legal entities, and departments, jobs, positions, grades, and all that. And in global HR module, so we are going to maintain the employee records also. So we create an employee record, and we keep maintaining the employee data, starting from hire to retire, whatever the different business processes that we have. So we are going to the various business processes that we use for an employee record is employee maybe get transferred, employee may get promotion, demotion, or employee may get transferred to some other country, or you keep employee may get terminated because of the resignation or some other reason, whatever it is. So these are all the different types of transactions that we're going to do in a global HR by using the global HR module and workforce lifecycle management module. So the benefits module, which we're going to use it for creating various benefit plans, which the company offers for an employee. For example, it can be an insurance plan or a medical insurance plan, or various benefit plans that can be created, and you may have different options for each benefit plan, and you may have different rates that that can be defined for each option or each plan, depending on how the employee enrolls. Employee enrolls into the benefit plan. Employee they themselves or employee family members, and how the premium rates are going to be defined and all that. And then later on, how these benefits, once the employee enrolls into benefit plans, how the premium amount by every pay period is going to be deducted from the employee's salary, and how it's going to be again the deducted amount is going to be sent to various benefits service providers like the insurance companies and all that. So all that is bundled in the benefits module. So coming to the compensation management module. So in the compensation management module, this is a kind of a decentralized salary increase process where managers are allowed, lower level managers or level 1 managers, when you talk about a bottom-up method, the level 1 manager is going to be is authorized to give the salary increase based on the budget allocated to his particular department. So, keeping in view of the performance rating as a reference, the managers are going to give the salary increase for various, employees of his team members, and then further submit to the next level managers for approval. And so that's a complete a decentralized process where managers can simply allocate some salary increase to the employees. So coming to the talent management. So we do have talent management, goals, performance management, and talent review, and talent pool, and all that. So different functionalities that we have. So by using the talent management, you can actually define various skills that are required for various jobs or positions, or for a particular person, or for a particular organization. So you can define the skill requirements, and you can also attach the skills that that are owned by a particular employee. So you can create a talent profile and attach to the employees. And so from time to time, so there is a new trend in the market now, which we call it as a 9-box matrix model. So by using a 9-box matrix model, so every employee of an organization can be populated in one of these 9 boxes based on their performance ratings, based on their talent. So the talent actually can be reviewed by a particular team of people. It can be a manager, a cross managers, whoever it is, and then they can identify how talented this guy is all about. So with the result of that particular review, so each and every employee is going to be populated in one of the box, and then that particular box depicts whether the employee lagging some potential, or whether the employee is using the complete is completely using his potential, and exhibiting the complete performance, whether the employee is ready to move to the next level because he already reached to the higher stage, whatever the role that he is performing and all that. So that's very easy to identify in a matrix of chart. So that's very easy. By department, you can filter and all that. So anyhow, we're going to check once we move to the talent management module. And coming to the performance and goals management. So we can create various goals like the organizational goals, departmental goals, and each individual employee goals. And employee can also have individual development goals. So these are all the different goals that can be created and assigned to the employee. So some of the goals directly can be assigned by the HR administrator, and some of the goals that can be assigned to the employees by the managers, and some of the goals employee they themselves can do some exercise, what kind of goals that they wanted to achieve in this particular performance period. So they can assign, they can create and they can assign the goals and have the target dates that is defined. And they can also mention a specific threshold, so how the targets are met. So they can mention all that, and then at the end of the performance period, or if the client is having a quarterly review, half-yearly review, or then annual review, so the managers can go and have the discussion with the employees to review their goals quarterly or half-yearly or directly annually. So it depends what kind of process the various clients that they follow. So they can review them, and then they can note down some review discussions that happen, outcome of the review discussion that happen, and then they can say that, okay, employee is on track, or employee is lagging behind, some need some assistance to achieve that particular goal, or from the manager side or from the organization side, something like that. So at the end of the year, so the employees, we have the different processes that are available, but whether the client uses it or not. So as an out-of-the-box functionality, so we have the employee self-service self-evaluation, so where employee can rate themselves whatever the goals that they have achieved. Based on that, they can rate themselves and then submit to the manager the performance document. And the manager is going to review that performance document, whatever the employee ratings that has been given and justification that has been given for each rating and all that. Then manager is going to give rating. And before that, if the client has that kind of practice to take the feedback of various other departmental managers as a participant feedback. So managers can add some participants to the performance document of employee, and then whatever the feedback that has been given by various other managers. So if the client is having a 360-degree kind of appraisal management, yeah, they can take the feedback from other team managers or other project managers where the employee has worked in a particular project under another project manager. The line manager may be different and the project manager may be different. So the managers are going to take the feedback and then give the final rating. And then once the final rating is given, so the document can be sent back to the employee for going through the feedback that has been given by the manager and the rating, and whether the rating is acceptable by the employee and all that. So they can acknowledge the document saying that, okay, they are okay with that rating that has been given by the manager. And if there are any difference of opinion that is there, so they can have offline discussion along with the HR and all that. So that is the complete process that we have here. So, and then coming to the global payroll, so we do have different types of payroll, what we call it as a global payroll and local payroll, localized payroll. So in our syllabus, we're going to discuss about global payroll because many of you guys are going to join from different countries. So we will have the global payroll that is our main focus, and if required, so from time to time I'll be stepping in various other legislations also, but do not expect in detail explanation of various countries. For example, you may be having UAE localization, you may be having India localization. Okay, so we'll talk about those things when we get into the further sessions. So global payroll means this particular payroll is used by the countries for whom the Oracle has not given a particular localization. So we do have a concept of localization. So localization means meeting these local specific requirements as out of the box. For example, we have payroll that is localized for India. That means you can expect some of the India local statutory or government related requirements that are delivered out of the box within the application. For example, you may be having a provident fund calculation, employee statutory insurance, ESI calculation, a gratuity calculation, and income tax calculation and all that. So these are all the different legislative specific requirements for India. So similarly, for other countries like US, you may be having a federal income tax and state income tax, county, and there may be other jurisdiction related taxes and all that. So once you have the localization, so Oracle may deliver 100% of the local requirements, or it can also deliver 80 to 90% of the requirements also. Again, when you go for any implementation, so you have to really check what are the different features that are available as out of the box, even though the localization is available. If some of the local requirements are not available, you have to work on those things. So here we are not going to talk about any localized payroll, but we keep discussing more on the US areas, and we sometimes step into UAE related, India related, and all that. So you can expect that. All right. So coming to the other modules, what we have, recruitment module, we have learning management module, we have, which we are not going to cover here. And network at work also we have, which is a social networking kind of feature. So that means whatever the other social networking accounts that you have, so you can integrate and you can chat from here by using the cloud application itself. And the other KPIs, dashboards, and extensibility, what we have, as I said, we do have various tools like OTBI, Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence tool that we have. So you can build some dashboards, statistical dashboards in the graph chart or data, in the format of data or graphical charts, pie charts, and all that. So you can use and publish to HR administrators, payroll administrators, managers, and if some dashboards if you would like to publish to the employees, you can publish to the employees also on the employee self-service and all that. And by using the OTBI, so you can develop some reports, and those reports can be published into various in various formats like PDF format, .csv format, and XML format, and XLS format, and all that. And if you would like to send these documents automatically, transmit these documents automatically to some other servers by FTPing and all that, so you will be able to do that. So we have that kind of functionality, and we also have data extracts where you can extract the employee or any module related data, and then this particular extracts you can have. If you already have a license for SOA, SOA application, so you can integrate with the SOA, and then you can process these XML files into SOA, and then FTP the files to some other websites, some other servers, like it can be vendor sites or internal sites, internal servers, and all that. So you'll be able to do that. And we do have the approval management where, so when you compare the approval management with the EBS application, so in EBS application, we do have a limited functions where the approval management is configured or enabled. So those are like employee self-service based or manager self-service based transactions. But whereas coming to the human capital, the cloud application, cloud HCM, so almost for each and every transaction that is done by the HR user and employee and manager, so you do have a lot of the business processes that are enabled for the approval management. For example, if the HR user wants to create a new location, yes, you can send it for an approval of a HR manager or someone. So you can enable the approval, and you can route through approval various approvals. And if you're trying to create a position, if you're trying to create a grade, if you're trying to create a job. So, and similarly, if you're trying to transfer the employee, if you're trying to create a new employee record, if you're trying to change the employee grade, change the employee job. So you do have so many business processes for which the approvals are enabled, and with the by using the Beppel technology, so the approval management is designed. So you can have your own approval customizations that is done. That means you can route through various approvals. So whether the approval is required by the next level manager, supervisor, or the approval is required by the HR user or a particular user. So you do have all that stuff that is available. So we can route the approvals, through various channels for getting the approvals. And for the data conversions, we do have the human capital management data loader, what we call it is in short form HDL. So we can have we can extract the data from various other legacy systems for the go live data conversion, and we can we can transform the data into a DAT file format, and then we can upload the file by using the HDL functionality. So that loads the data into cloud application. So that is what we use for data loaders. And after go live, so there may be some requirement of mass updates that needs to be done by using some kind of spreadsheet functionality. So the spreadsheet functionality, what we have in EP's application is, we call it as a web ADI, but we have a limited functionality in the web ADI in EP's application. So coming to the human capital management in cloud, so there are so many spreadsheet loaders. What we call it is a spreadsheet loader, because that particular data is loaded by using the spreadsheet. So that is the reason why we call it as a spreadsheet loader. So we do have so many data objects for which we can use the spreadsheet loader and upload. For example, if you would like to create an employee, you would like to create an employee assignment or create grades or something like that. So you do have so many spreadsheet loaders that are available. So where you can just populate the data in your spreadsheet and load the data into the system very easily. And in addition to that, we do also have a special loader which are useful for the configurations. For example, you do have thousands of locations that needs to be created. So we do have a special loader, where the 1,000 locations can be extracted from the legacy system what we have right now, and then that can be populated into a spreadsheet, and then immediately you can just with a single click you can upload all the locations, you can create all the locations. So and similarly like that, you also have spreadsheet loaders for other areas like creating grades or jobs or something like that, departments and all that. So anyhow, we will get into that. So these are all the various HCM modules that we have and various features of each module. So let's move to the next slide. All right, so we almost covered. So these are all the various different roles by nature or by work we have. So the HR operations, where the HR users will have the access to the system and then keep doing the HR operations. And employees also will have the access where they can, by using the employee self-service, they will be able to access some of the tasks like their personal information. They will be able to see their pay slips. They will be able to change their direct deposit information, their bank information. They will be able to add any skills that they acquire and all that. So employees will have access, and similarly manager also will have access, where managers will be able to do certain transactions for an employee. If a manager wants to transfer an employee, they will be able to do that by using the manager self-service. And if a manager wants to change one of the employees' direct report to another manager, so they will be able to do that. Managers will be able to apply for a leave on behalf of an employee, and so on. So there are so many features that are available in the employee and manager self-service. And coming to the top executives, they will have a different reporting access and all that, so they can do that. And in addition to that, we have HR information technology that is about building reports and all that. Okay, so along with all of these modules, as I discussed, so we have our globalization and a statutory localization concept for payrolls. And sometimes when you have the localization, depending on the localization, you may be able to see certain fields also that are available for a specific to a particular country. So that is also possible. And yeah, these are all the different things that we talked about: social networking, websites, integration. And yes, there is a mobile, mobile user interfaces that is also available. So where, coming to the access of cloud application, this is just an internet-based access. So you don't need to connect to your VPN of your company to get into the cloud application. So wherever you are, whether you are traveling or not, so if you have just an internet access, so similar to the Gmail access or some other websites access, you can just use the same URL and access, so access the cloud application. And similarly, you do have mobile interface also. So from the mobile also, you will be able to log into the cloud application. So that is what the integrated application is through the mobile. And as we discussed, we have analytics, dashboards, and big data and all that. BI analytics and publishers we have. and integrations like the SOVA and all that. And then, so this is all about the SaaS, software as a service application. So now coming to the platform as a service and infrastructure as a service. So in addition to the SaaS license, the clients also can take the license for a PaaS model and IaaS model, platform as a service and infrastructure as a service, so that they can develop their own code. For example, you would like to develop some integration points or something like that by using these services, and then you can just plug into the cloud application. So that is what the clients can do. In that case, they don't need to have a separate in-house server again. That means everything they're going to have the access to Oracle setup servers, and they can have their applications developed. Their code, their internal, their custom code can develop and then plug into the cloud application. For example, you have a SOVA. So you may be having a separate in-house server for the SOVA application, or you can go for a platform as a service or infrastructure as a service model, and then you can have your SOVA server installed there, and then you can use cloud services with that. You can just plug into that. So that's what on top of the cloud application, you also can have a platform as a service and infrastructure as a service. All right. So I just missed one of the point there. So if any client is going for a cloud HCM applications, so we have a public cloud and a private cloud. So public cloud means that particular server will be accessed by so many clients or so many customers, but you will have a hard partitioned between two applications accessed by the same different clients. For example, if a client A and client B both have purchased a cloud applications license, and both of the customers' data can be on the same server, but they will not be able to access the other client's data. That is what we call it as a hard partition. Even though it is the same server and same application that they are going to access, the cloud HCM application, but their data will be hard partitioned. So a client A cannot access client B data, and client B cannot access client A data. So that is how the architecture is done for the cloud application. So that is a public cloud. And if the client is not interested in public cloud because of the performance or some other issues, or there won't be any question of privacy. The privacy is well maintained by Oracle. So one client data cannot be accessed by other client. So there is no issue on that. Because of some other reasons, if the client wants to go for a particular private cloud, so they don't want to go for a public cloud where each and every customer, each and every other client is going to access the same application, same server. So if they would like to have a separate server, yes, they can go for, if they are ready to go, if they are ready to pay a little bit more amount than what they are supposed to pay for the public cloud. That means in this case, Oracle set up a separate server for that particular client only. And they will set up a separate server, and then you install the application, and then that particular server access will be given to only that client. So that is the private cloud. And in these models, in this private cloud model, again, the customer will have a choice that, okay, locating the servers or installing the servers. So the server can be set up at Oracle's office, wherever the servers are located, or if the client want the servers to be set up in their office, that is also possible. So these are all different catalog items that are being offered by Oracle. So it depends on the client requirements. So Oracle will does it for the clients. All right. So we talked about all these modules already. So we covered this global human resources, global HR. In global HR, we have workforce predictions, workforce modeling, workforce directory, and all that, workforce management and all that. So coming to the rewards, or workforce rewards, or we also call it as a workforce deployment kind of thing. We have global payroll and localizations, payroll interface. Yeah. So when the client doesn't want to implement the payroll in cloud application, so if they already have some legacy payroll, So the legacy payroll can be in EB's application, or the legacy payroll can be in some other legacy application. So how the client wants to set up and implement. So we do have a particular functionality called a payroll interface. So you just need to enable the payroll interface functionality. So that means the cloud HCM is ready to take the data from the legacy payroll and ready to send the information to the legacy payroll. So that is what the payroll interface functionality is all about. So that means you're going to extract the data, you're going to send the data to real-time employee data and all that to the legacy payroll system. And if you'd like to receive some information from legacy payroll in system to your HCM cloud, if you would like to populate some data here, yes, you can do that with the payroll interface functionality. And then compensation and benefits, we discussed about it, and absence management. And yeah, there is a time and labor functionality that is also available here. And yeah, if you can see here a little bit grayed out, the talent acquisition, manager, onboarding, and learning management. So this is about a Talio product owned by Oracle. So you will have you can have the real-time integration with the Talio recruitment, onboarding, and Talio learning management modules. You can do that. And we talked about career management, goals management, and there is also a learning management that is already available. And even the recruitment module is also now available in the cloud itself. So we can have that. And in addition to all these modules, with the latest upgrades, so from R13 onwards, we do have these kind of modules, which is grouped as a work-life related modules. So HR help desk module and my competitions. So there is a reputation and a wellness and reputation management module where the employees can create for the competition purpose. For example, I have walked for 5 kilometers today, so I can post that. I can post into on my profile by using the Cloud HCM application, and then that information will be published to the other employees' dashboard, also saying that okay, this guy has walked for 5 kilometers or 5 miles. Then why can't I do that? So that not only for the wellness, so that is also going to be helpful. For example, if I have done some certification and I just post it to my profile, so that can be visible by other employees also, and then that can be a competitive thing for other employees to do, a motivational factor for other employees to do a certification. So those kind of things that are available. So my competitions and my reputation. Similarly, my volunteering, for example, if I would like to do some social social service activity, so I go and during a particular weekend, I go and do some lake cleaning and serving the needy or poor, educating the poor people, or something like that. So, and whatever I do, I keep posting in my profile, and then that can be a motivational factor to others to do the same thing. So those kind of modules also we have with the recent upgrades. All right, so let me check. All right. Okay, so various differences from here to there. That means from Oracle EB Suite to the next generation cloud application. So what are all the different and how Oracle has reached to cloud application. So we had Oracle EB Suite owned by Oracle, and Oracle also owns a PeopleSoft application. So they bought from some other company. So they also bought PeopleSoft. So there are so many clients currently using Oracle EB Suite, and there are so many other clients also using PeopleSoft applications. So how Oracle would like them to upgrade into the cloud applications, and first of all, why should they do that? So that is what the decision-making factor is based on these facts. So in EB's application, we used to call it as organizations and legislations, and PeopleSoft, they used to call it as a business units and set IDs. And here we call it as a person and employment. There they call it as a person and job for the employment. And here we have the date track functionality. There in PeopleSoft, they do have the date effectivity functionality. So here we have in EB's functionality, we have position hierarchy, organization hierarchy, global hierarchies and all that. So they call it as a trees, position trees, organization trees, department trees, and all that. And so the EB suite is very closely integrated among each of the modules, and this is loosely integrated. So that means you do have some of the best features in EB suite, and some of areas we have best features in PeopleSoft. So now what Oracle has done is, so they studied the entire market, how various business processes, what are the best business processes that are available in the market, and what is missing in the what is available in the EB suite and what is available in the PeopleSoft, and what is missing in both of these areas. So that's how they filled that particular gap by delivering the cloud application. So that is the dream that they made reality as a cloud application. So in cloud application, we will have the best features or best business processes that are followed in various big companies in the world, and the best features of EB suite and the best features of PeopleSoft, and also some of the best features which are felt as a missing in both of these applications, they also match in the cloud application. So that is how the cloud application was evaluated. And the cloud application is configurable, adaptable, and extensible. So that is how the new generation applications, the cloud has been discovered. So in brief, if you look at at the major level different functionality differences. So what has changed for all workforce structures when we compare the cloud application with the PeopleSoft and with the EBS application? So there is something called in the PeopleSoft action reason, which is available for the auditing purpose. Action reason is also available for workforce structures in the cloud application also. So the action reason, normally if any action is done, if any action means any transaction, any configuration that has been done by either HR user or by the consultant, the configuration consultant. So there are certain action reasons that are available to specify or to justify what you are doing and why you are doing. For example, if a HR user logs into the system and then try to create a location, a new location. So the system will prompt you, and that there is a provision to capture action reason. So why are you creating this new location? Is it because a new branch has been opened, or some reorganization that has happened, some organization changes that have been happened, something like that? So that if the HR top management wants to know in a particular quarter or half yearly or yearly, if they would like to see what are all the different data changes that have been done in the system, by whom and why they did it. So if they would like to do some auditing kind of thing, they will have these action reasons that are available readily, and then they can read that justification. Okay, the new location has been created just because of this reason. So that is what the action reason is all about. So that is available in the PeopleSoft, but we never had that kind of feature in EB's functionality, unless some clients customize or create a new attribute, a DFF, to capture that particular reason. Okay, so that particular functionality is now available in the cloud. And compared to the EBS, so in EB's application, we had around 8 key flex fields for HCM. So out of them, 6 key flex fields were used for creating a business group. So those are job key flex field, a position key flex field, grade key flex field, and then we also have competence, people group, and cost allocation. So these are the 6 key flex fields that we had. And here, out of those 6 key flex fields, 4 are the workforce related key flex fields. Those are job, position, grade, and competence. So these are the 4 key flex fields that we used to use for creating the workforce structures in EB's application. Now those key flex fields have been discontinued in the cloud application. So we don't have any workforce structures related key flex fields. Now there are other 2 key flex fields which are continued now, which is a cost allocation key flex field and people group key flex fields. The other 2 key flex fields which are again discontinued is the personal analysis key flex field and the bank details key flex fields. Those are also discontinued in the cloud application. So we have only right now for the entire HCM application, we do have only 2 key flex fields. One is the cost allocation and the other one is the people group. So now, Action reason, as I said, it has been introduced now, and approvals can be enabled. So as I discussed and I said, there are many approvals can be enabled for many of the business processes. And secured objects. So list of values, whatever the value sets that you create, so that can be secured here. And there is we used to have effective start date and effective end date for each data object in EB's application. So for example, if you're creating a location, so you will have two fields. One is the start date of the location, effective start date of the location. And then we also have another field called effective end date of the location. So if you don't want any location, or if the location to be discontinued to use, so you go and query that location and populate that end date field for in the EB's application. We used to do that. So now here, coming to the cloud, we don't have the effective end date kind of concept here. They have introduced an attribute called status. So there is one field which is available in each and every data object. For example, you are creating a job, a location, grade, wherever you go. So you will have the status field. So in the status field, you have two different values like active and inactive. So for the values which you keep using, so you can make the status as active. As long as it is active, that particular value or that particular job or grade will be available in other pages, where if you go to the employee assignment and all that. And whenever management think that, okay, this job has been discontinued now, we will not use this job name. So you go to the particular job and query that and make the status as inactive. So from that day onwards, that job will not be available for an employee's data and all that. So that is what the active. And again, after a couple of years, management decides, okay, we are going to now continue using this particular job. Again, you can go back and make the status as active from inactive. So that is possible. So those are all the different features differences that we have when compared to the EB's application and PeopleSoft. So now, coming to the organization structures in cloud application. So we do have a different terminology when we compare to the EB's application. So in EB's application, different organizations, what we call it as the ultimate organization is the business group for a particular country, a business group. And then we have various other organizations. We don't have a particular classification or anything by organization type. We just differentiate them like a division, business unit, or something like that. Whereas other organizations, by using the classification, we have legal entities and some medical service providers, operating unit, operating company. So all that we have a certain kind of organization structures in EB's application. So coming to the cloud, we call it as an enterprise, which is a top organization, which is an ultimate holding company. We call it as an organization enterprise. So when you compare the organization structures with the EB's application, so in EB's application, we used to create a business group for each and every country, or you club multiple countries and create one business group for all of them. That means you will have multiple business groups that are created in EB's application if your client's business operations are existing across the globe. Whereas coming to the Fusion, you will have only one enterprise. That means it is the top ultimating company. And then under that, you can have your own legal entities, which are the companies that can be created. So whenever you create an employee, the person record always exists at the enterprise level. And then assignments and work relationships and all that will be available at the legal entity level. So that is what the enterprise top level organization is all about. And then there is something called legislative data group, what we call. So in fact, the legislative data group is nothing but a country legislation. So if you have if your client is having business operations in 10 countries and they're trying to implement the payroll for all the 10 countries, then you need to create 10 legislative data groups. And again, another important thing you need to remember here is, for one country, you would need to be created only one legislative data group. So you don't need to create multiple legislative data group unless the payroll requirement or something like that is very complex. You don't really need to create a legislative data group, because the legislative data group brings up the payroll legislative specific features of that particular country that will bring and make it available for the payroll implementation. So the moment you say legislative data group or LDG, it is a localized payroll data partition. So when you have the legislative data group that is defined, and by using the legislative data group, whatever the payroll configurations that you do for all of that particular payroll group of configurations, the legislative specific requirements are localized requirements of that particular country will be available for that particular payroll. So that is what the legislative data group is all about. And then we come across some other terminologies like payroll statutory unit and legal employer and tax reporting unit and all that. So payroll statutory unit, or in short form, we also call it as a PSU. So this is a group of one representative, a statutory unit that is created for various legal entities to report the payroll, various payroll reports and all that to the government organization. So this is a group of legal employees who are considered a single reporting group for payroll purposes. So you can pull various statutory reports. For example, you have two different legal entities or two different companies in India itself. Now, your company wants to submit the legal reporting and all that to the PF authorities, ESI authorities, and income, tax authorities and all that. So your management decided, instead of filing the reporting differently for both of the companies, so you need two people to go and submit the reports for one for each company. So instead of that, if the management is decided, okay, so let us submit together as one payroll statutory unit, one reporting unit. So in that case, we'd be creating one payroll statutory unit for both of the legal entities together, and with one name, we'll be submitting all the statutory reports to the government. So that is how the payroll statutory unit is helpful. And coming to the legal employer, so each legal entity, for each of the company that you want to employ some people there, so you have to classify them as a legal employer. So when you classify them as a legal employer, then only that particular legal entity is allowed to employ the people. So that is what the legal employee is all about. So legal employer is nothing but almost a legal entity, but having an additional classification as a legal employer. So that is what the legal employer is all about. And coming to the tax reporting unit. So this is actually required for example, if you have two different manufacturing unit located in two different states, so you may be required to file the statutory related reporting in each of these states. So you will have a tax unit ID given differently for each state. So you can create a different tax reporting unit IDs for the same legal entity, and then use the tax reporting unit ID of each state as an identifier to file your reporting and all that. So that's how the tax reporting unit is available. Okay, so this is just a comparison among the cloud HCM and eBSuite and PeopleSoft. So we call it as an enterprise here. So we used to call it as a business group or instance level there in eBSuite, and in PeopleSoft they used to call it as a business unit. And the legislative data group. So here in cloud, enterprise and legislative data group together becomes an equivalent thing to the business group in eBSuite. So I'll explain you the limitations when we really get into the enterprise creation session. So what were the different limitations that we had in eBusiness, in eBSuite with the business group, and those things have been overcome with the enterprise concept here. So we'll discuss that in our next session. And here they got it as a regulatory region set ID, which is equivalent to the legislative data group in PeopleSoft. And here we call it as a payroll statutory unit PSU. And we had a tax group organization classification in the eBSuite and common paymaster classification in PeopleSoft. And here we call it as a legal employer. And in EB suite, we have organization classification as a reporting organization. So here they call it as a company. And here tax reporting unit we call, and in this case, we used to call it as a GRE. So government reporting entity as an organization classification we had. And in this PeopleSoft, it's the same company that they used to have. So this is a typical organization structure example that we have. For example, in this picture, in this diagram, if you can see, the Infusion Corporation is a ultimate holding company, which is an enterprise. And then under that, we have divisions, different divisions. And again, we will have the detailed explanation about divisions, what is division and how divisions can be categorized and all that. So here, this is US division, Europe division, and Middle East division and all that. So under US division, so we have one company, which is a legal entity. The legal entity is nothing but a registered company, what we call. So US, we have one legal entity, and the same legal entity, we have one tax reporting unit ID that is created for the legal entity. And there is a legislative data group also that is created for US. So that if you implement the payroll, so all the US legislative specific things will be available for this particular legal entity. And under legal entity, we have a business unit concept. So we will talk about in detail when we move to the business unit concept. The business units plays very important role in segregating or filtering various data objects by using the reference data sets or set IDs, what we call. And under business units, we have different departments. So this is the entire organization hierarchy that we can see like this. And under Europe division, so again, you have a legal entity, business unit, and department. And under again, Europe division itself, you have two different legal entities. One is the UK legal entity, another one is the France legal entity. And they have their individual business units and their individual departments that are there. And there is a Middle East division also we have. So again, that has their own organizational structures. All right, so this is how the organization is again, I try to put in a different diagram, shows how you are going to create a payroll statutory unit and tax reporting unit IDs and all that. So you have a Vision Corporation as an enterprise and different legislative data groups. That means you do have different legal entities that are registered, one in China and one in India. That means two different companies, one in China and one in India. And coming to the payroll statutory unit, you have a Vision China for China reporting, and Vision India. There are two different payroll statutory units that are created. And legal employers are manufacturing China and installation China. In China, you do have two different manufacturing units. One is manufacturing, and another one is the installation. So both of them are legal employers. And in India, you have only one installation in India. There is one company. And coming to the TRUs, or tax reporting unit IDs, what we discussed about. So in manufacturing China itself, they have two different segments. And for both of these segments, there are two different tax reporting unit IDs are given. So that materials China will have a different ID. And with the tax reporting unit ID, they will pay the tax and all that. And assembly China, they will have a different tax reporting unit ID. And with that tax reporting ID, they will pay the tax to the government and submit the reports and all that. So that is how the tax reporting unit ID is going to be useful for us. All right, so coming to the enterprise and various legislative data groups and all that. So at the enterprise level, as I said, the person record and person names and all that will exist at the enterprise level. So even after you terminate the employee record, the person record will always be active. So in case of any rehiring and all that happens, so you can simply query that person record and add a work relationship to create another employment record. So we have a person and person name, and so to the person you will have the employment terms and assignments. So there is a 2-tier employment and 3-tier employment, different employment models that we have in cloud. So which we will discuss in detail later. So employment terms means these are all the different terms and conditions of an employment, and where at the employment terms also you can have the employee job, employee organization, employee location, grades and all that. And again, at the employee assignment level, also you can have a different job, different organization, all that. So we will have a detailed discussion when we move to the employment models. And jobs, locations, grades, organizations. So these are all tied up with the business unit. So when you assign a particular business unit to the employee, so based on that particular business unit, whatever the valid jobs and valid locations, valid organizations, organizations means here the departments and grades. So these are all the different data objects that are depending on the business unit will be able to select to the employee assignment. And on top of that, so we have a legislative data group layer. So whichever the payroll that you assign to the employee, so you can assign to the employee based on that the local legislative specific tax reductions and all that will be applicable for the employee record when you run the payroll process. Okay, so this is in brief again. The ultimate UHC is ultimate holding company, which is an enterprise. Under that you have divisions, under that you have legal employers, legal entities, and under each legal entity you have departments, cost centers and all that. And business unit is at again at the division level. So anyhow, we're going to get into that as a detailed explanation. So now, in case if you are ready to go for implementation, so before getting into the solution design, you need to question yourself certain things. So what are they? Let's see. How many enterprises we need to create? So as I mentioned, there is only one enterprise for one client. So irrespective of how many companies or legal entities that they have, how many divisions that they have across the globe, you are required to create only one enterprise. If the client requirement is so complex, where the client is asking to create two enterprises for them, then they will have to buy a separate license for having another instance access. So in that case, what Oracle does is they will charge another license cost, and then they will provide another instance. You cannot have a single instance, to create multiple enterprises. In one instance, you are allowed to create only one enterprise. You can create multiple enterprises, but you cannot load that. That means you cannot use more than one enterprise for your configurations. One enterprise for one client. So that you need to remember. So add enterprise for multiple tenants or multiple systems. So this is what exactly I told. If there is a complex requirement by the client and client wants multiple enterprises to be created, then that means this multiple enterprise is for the multiple tenants, multiple customers, and or multiple systems. That means you will have a separate system, separate application access given, separate URL will be given if you require another enterprise to be created, and then they will charge more amount. So another license. That is what all about the enterprise. And coming to the legislative data groups, as I said in the beginning, one country, one legislative data group again, because the legislative data group, the importance of the legislative data group, or the role of the legislative data group is to bring the local statutory legislative specific requirements of that particular country and make it available to the payroll. So whether you create one legislative data group or two legislative data groups, it is going to do the same thing. So that is the reason why you need to create only one for each country you operate in. And add legislative data groups if extremely diverse payroll setup within the enterprise. So as I mentioned again, if you have so complex payroll requirements, that means for one payroll, you need a different calculation method, or you need a different statutory related configurations to be allowed for one particular operating unit or the legal entity, and you need some other set of functionalities to be given for some other legal entity. So something like that. If you have that kind of complex requirements, yes, you are allowed to create another legislative data group. And in this case, when you are creating a payroll related setups for one group of the employees, you use one legislative data group. And because of the additional requirement, for other group of employees, when you are doing the payroll configurations, payroll related configurations for other group of employees, you select the other legislative data group. So that is what exactly you need to do. And how many legal entities? So this depends on how many real time or how many companies actually they registered. For example, in India, if the company has two different legal entities, two different companies that they have registered, one may be taking care of cosmetics production, and another may be into the production of some pharma related products. So you have two different companies here. That means you have to create two legal entities. So like that, for each country, when you go for an implementation, so you need to check with the client how many companies that they have registered across the globe. That means those many legal entities you need to create. And which legal entities employ people. So there may be some legal entities where they will not have the employees, but they do some operations. So in that case, they cannot be a legal employer. You don't need to classify them as a legal employer. So you just need to identify wherever the employees are working, and you have the labor license, a labor department license to recruit the people. So you classify that legal entity as a legal employer, and then you start recruiting the people. All right. So I just put an example of how if you have a client who has business operations, and then they have Fusion Corporation is a ultimate holding company, and which is also a legal entity, and that you do have two different divisions. And again, under the division, we have Fusion Insurance USA, one legal entity, and in the insurance division itself, you have another company, Fusion Insurance UK. So this one is US and this one is UK, and you do need to create one US legislative data group and one UK legislative data group. And also, if you look at this particular diagram, you have under insurance division, you have the two different companies in each. One is in USA and one is in UK. And if you look at other banking operations division, you have only one company which is in UK. Now, even though these two companies are different, Fusion Insurance UK and Fusion Bank UK, both of the companies are different and both of the divisions are different, you are going to create only one legislative data group to create the payroll for Fusion Insurance, as well as to create the payroll for Fusion Bank UK. That is because even though these two companies are different, but this is only one single country. All of the employees of both the companies will work in only one country. So they will have all the legislative specific requirements as a common requirement, and that common requirement will be brought by the legislative data group. So you need to create only one legislative data group for UK and one legislative data group for US. So that you need to remember here. All right, so I think the data sets and all that we can discuss when we get into the other sessions. All right, so now I would like to open you guys for any questions. Anybody has any questions? I'm glad to answer your question. Any questions from anyone? Questions related to cloud, questions related to HCM.
Suresh, do you want to ask anything? Suresh Shankara?
No, sir, that's all.
So,
thanks for the information.
Hello.
I'm good with the information.
Okay, thank
you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Hari.
Hey, morning.
Yeah, actually, I have a question because this is the latest version of the Fusion Cloud, or it is the like something?
Yes, it is the latest version.
13.0.
Yes, correct. 13.0, and I think it's 19B or something like that. Update 19B.
Okay. And one more thing, I want to ask that this is the like technical means aspect like that fast formula and all the thing like report. So you will be teach us how to write the fast formula and how to build a report.
Correct. You're right.
Okay. Thank you.
Hari, this is Raj here.
Hey, Raj.
Hari, I have a question. Like, do we like during the training, do we take an example of particular business scenario like XYZ corporation, and then we will be creating and sample operating unit, sample business unit like that, or existing vision that we are going to do just to like see that, like because unless until we create that sample just like no implementation kind of thing, the entire process, so that
Right.
will be good. So how the method, the way
Yeah.
you will be
Correct.
delivering?
So I'll be taking as a sample organizations. It's not like just as out of the box functionality. So this is how you create a location. I won't go that way. If you create a location, then I'm going to associate that particular location to the next data object that I'm going to create. So we will have complete flow.
Yeah, so that we will be have a chance to do that the same practice for our like sample organization, sample legal entities, sample business business units, etc. And then we do some end-to-end transaction and to see that will be the idea.
Right. For example, if you take the payroll configuration, so whatever the elements that I create, so I assign to one of the employee and then run the payroll. So like that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Got it.
Others
One
also,
more question
please feel free to ask questions. Yeah, please.
One more question that this miss access of this session, how long we can access, like 3 months, 6 months?
Generic questions I'll answer at the end. Any technical questions you can ask the faculty. Yeah. Any course details, generic questions I'll answer at the end. Yeah.
Hi, Hari, Suresh here.
Yes, Suresh.
I want to know the contents you are going to cover out of the HCM models.
Oh yeah, so let us go back to the first slide. All right, so yeah, this is the one. So I think we almost covered the course introduction, product overview and all that. So yeah, from here, we're going to cover the functional setup manager, and I'm going to cover each and every topic around the security console, which is an identity management, and global HR module, absence management module, global payroll, and profile management functionality in the talent management, and succession management, talent pool, talent review. So all these are different major functionalities of talent management module. And we have the goals management, performance management, and employee self-service and manager self-service. Yeah, so these are all the different functional modules that we're going to cover, functional topics, and these are the technical topics that we're going to cover.
Okay, thank you.
Suresh, I have already emailed you the course details, the content, each and every topic, the same that what we promised, we covered.
Hari, one more question that I want to access this means the test instance. How long time?
Sir,
Yeah.
generic questions I'll answer at the end, sir. Okay, please wait. Okay, technical questions please ask him. Your duration, application access, readers and all I'll answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Hari.
Hari,
I'm-
this is Raj.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, carry on, please. Carry on.
Yeah, Hari, I'm Rajesh here. I
Right.
just would like to know whether you cover time and labor in the course, in the training.
Time management is not covered in this.
Oh, but
So we're planning to introduce those. I'll talk to Krishna on that.
okay.
That means
specifically-
OTL is not covered in this HCM training. OTL.
Yes.
Yeah, that's time and labor comes under OTL only, right? I mean, just I'm asking. I don't know, like.
Yes, exactly.
Same.
I will provide you the videos. I'll provide the videos for that.
But whatever the setup we do for Oracle time and labor or here in HCM, that won't be covered or covered. I mean to say that like creating like what is it, time sheets and all. So that
Time
is
entry rules or time
Yes.
entry rules, element entry, or any.
Yeah,
Team, I have OTL videos. I'll provide you. Okay.
Fine. Okay.
OTL videos are having end-to-end configuration.
for HCM, I'm talking about.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. And one more question for Hari, regarding a dashboard and KPIs and what do you say, BI reports. So do we get a chance to how to create the dashboard, how to create a KPIs and how to create a BI reports, for example, and those things can be covered in this training?
May not be dashboards because that is going to be a very complex requirement. So we'll build some reports and then see that.
Okay.
Dashboard and KPI, it also comes under technical, Raj. Okay.
Oh, that is a different course altogether, Krishna.
Pure technical. This is a kind of functional, more of functional and bit technical. Yeah.
Okay.
Not complete technical.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Hi, I have a question, please.
Yeah, Veena, please go ahead.
So I'm working in the payroll sector, but I'm into service side. So I'm able to relate to half of the terminology. Now I have a quick question about this. Like, do we have to have knowledge on Oracle SQL further, or HCM is nowhere related to Oracle SQL?
Yeah, it depends on whether you would like to work on some technical areas or just
Like when you say technical, Krishna or somebody, they just said it's more of functional and bit technical. In that bit technical, will Oracle SQL fall in place, or we don't have to have any idea about it?
You don't need to have. For each and every area, there would be
It's
some.
a choice.
Yeah, for each and every area, there would be a complex requirement. For example, if you would like to build a report where you need to write some SQL queries and all, so that's where you need a technical knowledge. But we do have some data objects which are readily available to build the reports, and you can just use that. And similarly, in the area of data extracts, the requirement is so simple that whatever the different data objects that are available as out of the box, you can just use them and create a data extracts. Whereas if you really need to write some criteria in the data extract, where you need to write some SQL query and all that, yeah, that's where you need SQL knowledge, right?
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Hari, if you want to learn OTL, part of cloud, do we have any separate session for it only for OTL, or OTL is out of box for entire HCM, or the product is not available within Oracle?
No, it is available. The product is available. As Krishna mentioned that, okay, he's going to give the access of OTL session videos to you, so you can learn. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. I will be able to clarify the questions.
Yeah, but any the question for Krishna, do we have OTL sessions also there apart from this? Krishna, I think it's not a technical question. I will check with Krishna on this. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
As I told you already, so I'll provide you the videos, the latest videos only.
Yeah, videos that and all fine. I'm just asking you, do we have any other sessions especially for OTL?
No. That's why I'm providing you the videos.
Okay.
That's the reason I'm providing the videos.
Okay. Krishna, actually what is trying to do and what is trying to ask is, though you provide the videos, we may have some questions on time and labor. So
that's what Hari told you. That's what Hari told you, that he is going to clarify the questions of what you have on OTL.
Yeah, I can,
because then I mean, whenever you are taking the class, in between we ask, then again it will get diverted. So just wanted to be on a clear side. We are asking that.
See, you have a Q&A sessions also. Okay, all your doubts are clarified.
So
fine.
Yeah. As mentioned by Krishna, so we have the Q&A session at the end of the session each day. Okay, so once we are done with the question and answer session for that particular topic, and whoever wants to ask additional questions, so they can stay back, and then we can have that, right?
And by the way, may I know your name? I could see your name as Galaxy S9. I'm trying to reach you to ask.
My name is Rajesh.
Yeah, please share your contact number, email ID also, so that I can share you the details so that you can understand our process.
Krishna, I think you have my number, right? I spoke to you before connecting. I'll share you any which ways. I will share you my details.
Okay, please share. I'm trying to ping you from past half an hour. 2 times I pinged you
On my number?
here on the chat.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll send you.
Okay, all right. So any more questions?
So I want to means time. This is the morning time only. The 7
Okay, I'll
a.m.
come
in
to
the
the generic question. I'll come to the
yes.
generic question. Okay. Yeah, Hari, I'll take care of it now. Okay. If you're done with the technical questions, then I'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, team. It's going to be 1 hour session daily, Monday to Saturday, and Sunday is off. And it's altogether 55 hours of course. It's like 2 months, and you will get 1 year videos access from our website, and 4 months application access, and you'll also get material from us also, material which we prepared. We'll also share that material as well.
Okay. Okay. So the timing is fixed like 7 a.m. morning or any other timing in means like evening timing and all the means.
We don't have evening timing because all our trainers are real-time faculties. So that's why we only have morning slots.
Yeah, it's 7 or 7:30, Hari. Oh, sorry, Krishna. Krishna, it's 7 or 7:30.
7 to 8.
7 to 8. Okay, fine.
Actually, I am in here in Dubai only. So Dubai is a 7 is a too early. So that is it possible like 8 a.m.
8 a.m. slot, I think it would be difficult for others actually. That's what we are thinking.
Okay.
We can do it from 8:15 to 9:15, but I think others will be tough to connect, I think.
Okay.
Suresh here. Krishna,
Okay.
8:15 is comfortable for me because I work for the US staffing firm, and in Pacific time zone I used to work. In Indian time, like it would be 6:30 a.m. I will log out. And
Got
as
it.
soon as I come back to
Got you,
home, it
Suresh.
might take up to 8
Others,
o'clock.
may I know your preferable slot?
Then might be the same time, whatever you said, 8:15 to 9:15.
No, I'm asking others also, Suresh, please wait.
Oh, thank you.
See, if you have any,
I'm okay. 7 to 8 is I'm okay, Krishna.
yeah. If you have any questions one-to-one, you can call me directly on my mobile, because I cannot explain you detail. So here, so because already
Okay.
9:30.
Yeah, fine.
So I have to stop you in the middle if I know your question.